ranked in the first place in my list of must-see places in England, which is located in the north of Europe. Well, there are so many intriguing cities in this country that visitors are spoilt for choice when deciding where to visit. Well, I am fascinated by the historic houses, the quaint tea shops, and the bustling shopping streets in York, which is the oldest city of England, have the historic beauty and virtual diversity. What's more, I am wholeheartedly affected by the sleepy beauty of West Midland, where there are a lot of quiet villages and unique traditional dishes, all kind of that. Besides, having read a variety of articles about England, I know that the people here are somehow, overly polite, by which I mean they often don't say what actually they are thinking, because they tend to use hedging expressions. However, to be honest, I admire this style of communications. Thus, I do think that if my financial budget were big enough, I would book a ticket to England, definitely.
Well, I'd like to talk about a country that I want to travel to. It's Denmark, which is located in the northern Europe. This idea first occurred to me was when I watched a documentary about the history and attractions of Denmark. And what impressed me most were the orderliness of cities and sleek sense of design about the architecture of Denmark. Plus, I was also enchanted by a boat ride in Copenhagen, which would enable me to have a quick look about buildings on the river banks, like a colorful merchant's house and historic bridges, which would be a feast for eyes. What's more, this country, Denmark, is also a combination of historic heritage and modern lifestyle. And I really want to go there to get to know about the efficient way of how they make the city work. For example, it's reported that Danish people seldom suffer from the traffic jam, which is one of the serious problems in our country. And on the other hand, it's about their lifestyle. The local Danish people are said to have a good sense to enjoying their life. And it's reported that Danish people are the happiest and most content people around the world. So, this is the country that I want to travel to.
Okay, let's listen to a response to the prompt. Describe a country you'd like to visit. There are two of them. Let's hear what these people have to say.
Ranked in the first place in my list of must-see places.
Again, this person uses must-see noun, must-see places, must-see, or must-do. Sometimes we can say must-see, must-do, must-visit. If it's a place, you can say must-see, must-visit. If it's a thing, if it's an activity, you can say must-do activity. It's good. You can see a relative clause coming up, which is located
in England, which is located in the north of Europe.
Hang on a second. Did you say in the north?
In the north of Europe.
In the north of Europe. All right, that's good. A lot of people say in the North Europe or in North Europe or something like that. You can either say in the north of Europe or Northern Europe. You probably noticed the heavy accent this woman's got.
Well, there are so many intriguing cities in this country that visitors are spoilt for choice when deciding where to visit. Well, I am fascinated by the
She's a very strange cadence.
Historic houses.
Oh, hang on a second here.
By the historic houses.
Yeah, she said history. It's historic. She left off the k at the end.
The quaint tea shops and the bustling shopping streets in York.
Man, that street sounds like trees to me.
The bustling shopping streets in York.
But even though she said trees, you can still guess that she means trees, so it's okay. And here, quaint tea shops. This is such a great adjective to use for tea shops or houses. When you're talking about buildings, this is a great adjective.
Which is the oldest city of England, have the historic beauty and...
Something happened with the grammar here. Which is the oldest city of England? Okay, maybe we should, instead of this, say the oldest city in England. But then here, this verb has no subject. This should have been a new sentence. It has, I don't know why it's have. It has historic beauty.
Historic beauty and virtue diversity.
Now here, I don't know what's going on here. It has historic beauty. There should be no the there. Virtue diversity. I can't even begin to think what she's trying to say. Diversity, I understand, kind of, but she doesn't explain what kind of diversity. Diversity, virtue diversity. Virtue and diversity don't go together. I don't know. I can guess, but I don't know where to begin to try to guess what she's trying to say.
What's more, I am wholeheartedly affected by...
I am wholeheartedly affected. Technically, there's nothing wrong with this, but in English, no one is going to say I'm wholeheartedly affected.
Like the sleepy beauty of West Midland.
The West Midlands. But that's not a big problem. I mean, if you're talking about specific regions of a country and you make a mistake, I don't think the examiner is going to care.
Where there are a lot of quiet villages and unique traditional dishes.
Okay, she's starting to slur her words a little bit here. There are a lot of quiet villages in unique traditional dishes. What?
And unique traditional dishes.
Okay, I think she wanted to say and, but she struggled a little bit and it came out as in. She also had difficulty pronouncing the word dishes correctly.
All kind of that.
And there's no phrase like all kind of that. That doesn't exist. You can say and these kinds of things. Although I don't think villages and dishes are really similar. So if you say villages, dishes, those kinds of things, I don't know, they don't really form a group. They're very disparate things.
Besides, having read a variety of articles...
Having read a variety, but the having read, that's great. You could use a grammar. Having read a variety of articles about England, I know that the people...
About England, I know that the people here are somehow, you know...
The people here, is she in England right now? I know that the people there, and then she added this D to somehow.
Overly polite.
It's not overly, it's overly.
By which I mean, they often don't say what actually they are thinking.
Okay, and here she has some problems with the grammar. What they are actually thinking. What they are actually thinking. The be verb has to go after the subject.
What actually they are thinking, because they tend to use hatching expressions. They tend to use hatching expressions.
I don't know what this word is. Hatching expressions? I don't know what that means.
However, to be honest, I admire this style of communications. Thus, I do think that if my...
Thus? Wow, she's got a weird way of speaking.
Thus, I do think that if my financial budget were big enough...
If my financial budgets, plural? Surely people just have one budget, right?
Thus, I do think that if my financial budget were big enough... If
my financial budget, I think we can maybe drop the financial. I mean, all budgets are financial, right?
I would book a ticket to England, definitely.
Okay, it's a bit short. Nah, it's not a bit short. It's very short. It comes in about 1 minute and 20 seconds. You've got to aim for longer than that. All right, let's hear the alternative response.
Well, I'd like to talk about a country that I want to travel to. It's Denmark, which is located in the Northern Europe.
Okay, now hang on a second. Let's have a look at this here. This woman said in the north of Europe because north is a noun. So the north, preposition, noun. This woman says the Northern Europe. Northern is not a noun, so there's no the here. So just which is located in Northern Europe. In Northern Europe.
Which is located in the Northern Europe. This idea first occurred to me was when I watched the...
This idea first occurred to me was... We can drop the was. When I watched...
documentary about the history and attractions of Denmark. And what impressed me most were the orderliness of cities and slick sense of design about the architecture.
Maybe she said design. Slick sense of design.
And slick sense of design about the architecture of Denmark.
Design? Design? Maybe. I don't know. I don't know if she says design. Slick sense of design about the architecture of Denmark. Slick. Whew. I don't know. I've seen pictures of Denmark. I don't know if I would describe the buildings in Denmark as slick. They look kind of classical, right? But anyway, for architecture, why not use the word style? And then you can use some adjective, the classical style of architecture. Or if you really believe the word is slick, why not use slick? The slick architectural style, I suppose. Okay, slick.
Design about the architecture of Denmark. Plus, I was also intrigued
Notice the intonation here where it goes up plus
by a boat ride in Copenhagen.
Okay, this is maybe kind of technical, but it's Copenhagen, at least in English. Copenhagen, not Copenhagen. Okay, but Copenhagen.
Copenhagen, which would enable me to have a quick look about buildings on the river banks.
Now wait a second. Did she go on the boat ride or not? I was enchanted by a boat ride. It sounds to me like she went on the boat ride. But here she says would. Which would... Oh, she also said would enabled. Remember, after a modal, you have to use the bare infinitive. So would enable me. Let's listen to this again.
By a boat ride in Copenhagen, which would enable me to have a quick look about buildings on the river bank.
River?
To have a quick look about buildings on the river banks.
Okay, it's river. River. Have a quick look about. Have a quick look at the buildings on the riverbanks.
Like a colorful merchant's house.
Okay. I don't know what she said here. Maybe it's merchant, but I don't want to guess. I can't make out the word. Could be merchant, but I don't know.
And historic bridges.
Bridges.
Which would be a feast for eyes.
Okay, I know she's going for the idiom here, which would be a feast for the eyes, which would be a feast for the eyes, but she left out the. So beautiful to look at, a feast for the eyes.
More.
Oops, I missed a word there.
What's more, this country, Denmark, is also a combination of historic heritage and modern lifestyle.
It's not modern, it's modern lifestyle.
And I really want to go there too.
Oh my goodness, she didn't say should. And I really want to go there. Let's try this again.
Historic heritage and modern lifestyle. And I really want to go there to get to know about the efficient way of how they make the city work.
Get to know about the efficient way. Does she mean learn? And I really want to go there to learn about how they make the city work so efficiently. Okay, sounds like a work trip. And I really want to go there to learn how they make the city work so efficiently.
Way of how they make the city work. For example, it's reported that
This is good. It's reported that
Danish people seldom suffer from the traffic jam.
But then why is there a specific article here? We don't need the definite article. The people seldom suffer from traffic jams. Suffer from traffic jams. People suffer from traffic jams. She should drop the from as well. People seldom suffer traffic jams.
Which is one of the serious problems in our country.
Whoa, she confused program and problem?
Jam, which is one of the serious problems in our country.
Traffic jams. Okay.
And on the other hand, it's about their lifestyle.
Now, why did she choose to say on the other hand? What's the connection between this? There are no traffic jams. On the other hand, it's about the lifestyle. This seems like an odd phrase to use here.
And it's about their lifestyle. You know, the local Danish people are said to have a...
Before she said it's reported that the people are said to...
The local Danish people are said to have a good sense to enjoy their life.
That I don't know what she means by that. You know, the local Danish people are said to have a good sense. Did I hear that right? Wait.
Danish people are said to have a good sense to enjoy their life.
I missed the two. Good sense to enjoying their life. Have a good sense to, have a sense to enjoying. To enjoying? Okay, so first of all, this should be to enjoy. They have a good sense. The local Danish people are said to know how to enjoy life. Just how to enjoy life. It's not a sense. It's just something you know how to do.
In their life. And it's reported that...
Okay, now I'm thinking she's using this too much. Here's another one.
That Danish people are the happiest and most content people around.
It's not content. Content is a noun. The adjective is content. Content. They're the most content people.
Around the world.
Most the content people in the world. In the world. Around the world is if you want to show as how something has spread very far. If you just want to say something is number one on Earth, then it's in the world.
So, this is the country that I want to travel to.
Okay, a little bit of a conclusion there at the end. Let's see the length. Hey, just about 2 minutes. So good job on the timing, I suppose.